I'm not going to do a cute intro. This is a spoiler for the movie, so if you have not seen the movie yet, I would recommend not watching this. So Spider-Man Homecoming, the movie is out. I did my review. It contains both spoilers and non-spoilers. The spoilers are on the back end, so if you want the spoiler-free, watch the first half of that review. I'm not going there on that. Now, there's one specific spoiler that I want to talk about, and I gave my warning at the front, so I'm just going to launch right into it, okay? And that is the reveal of Zendaya's character of Michelle saying, "My friends call me MJ," effectively saying this is this universe's equivalent of Mary Jane Watson. And I want to talk about that change and why I think it's brilliant. Actually, I need to revise that. It's not the change that I think is brilliant. I'm not actually going to talk about whether or not it was a good idea to make the notable changes to the character that they did. Either in terms of her race, I'm definitely not touching that. I dealt with enough of that crap when I talk about Ghost in the Shell. Nor am I going to talk about the significant differences in terms of characterization and her place in Peter's social circle that this represents. You may like that change, you may not like that change. I'm not talking about whether the characterization alterations are a good or a bad thing. What I am going to talk about is why I think the manner in which the reveal that this character of Michelle is MJ is genius and was handled brilliantly. Again, I'm not here to discuss whether or not the character changes are a good thing. If you feel they're a bad thing, I hope you'll still stick around and hear me out on why I think the reveal is well handled. So let's just recap real quickly. We've seen this character Michelle throughout the movie, across the thing, just interacting with Peter, interacting with Ned. She's part of the academic decathlon thing. We've seen her around. She's part of the social circle. She's just there, really in the same way that Ned is there and Liz is there and Flash is there. She's just part of the group. And we get to see her dynamic with the group. We get to see how people are around her. And so we get a sense of her and just as Michelle. Okay, cool. So she's been around, and then at the very end, when she feels more tight with the group, she says, "My friends call me MJ." And for me, that was a big light of moment. Now that happens like right at the very end, like movie's effectively over by the time that happens. It practically could have been a post-credit sequence. So that reveal is the best way to handle this kind of significant change because it shows that they understood the significance of the changes that they were making. It showed respect for the character. Now again, if you feel that what the changes to the characters are disrespectful, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the way in which the reveal is handled. I feel shows a great deal of respect for the character because it shows an understanding that what they were doing was significant and it had to be delivered in the correct fashion. Because if you want to look at something like, say, Jimmy Olsen in BVS, which I know is a little weird one to talk about because in the theatrical they didn't say his name and it came up more in the extended and was confirmed by the but let's just the guy who just gets shot at the very beginning of Batman v Superman, that's Jimmy Olsen apparently. That is an incredibly disrespectful way to do a major character alteration. And I'm not just saying you can't, do some big shifts with a character like Jimmy or even kill him off necessarily, but to basically go, "Oh, you want your Jimmy Olsen? Here's your Jimmy Olsen." Bang! That is disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the character and it's disrespectful to anyone who feels the character is important to Superman. And some people think he's dumb, some people think he's very important. But it shows a lack of understanding that the decision to kill Jimmy Olsen is an important one and a significant one. They didn't seem to care. They did it haphazardly. And the tone in which they talked about doing it reinforces that. This shows a respect for the character because I've actually had a discussion with some of my friends who are more okay with her being this universe's version of MJ than others. So I've heard that conversation. But the thing is, I think about myself. If she had been called MJ from the beginning, and we knew that's who she was immediately, I probably would have rejected the idea, or at least by the end I would have been swallowing it really reluctantly, because if she had been named MJ, as soon as we saw her, my brain immediately would have started cataloging every reason why this characterization is unlike MJ. How she's not the same popular it girl, how she's not this social butterfly, how she doesn't have people fawning over her beauty, how her relationship with Peter is completely different at this point. I mean, granted, he's interested in another girl, but like how so much of this is different, and my brain would have been, if not outright rejecting it, would have been challenging this idea of this character as MJ right from the get-go, and it would have been distracting. It would have taken me out of the movie. It would have become something that I do a nitpick rant on, because it would have taken me right out of the movie experience, because my brain can't just roll with what I'm watching. It's too busy picking this apart. So the fact that it comes at the very end not only meant that it wasn't distracting from the story as it was happening, but additionally, it meant I had the time and the opportunity to see and get to like this character before the reveal happened. And to be clear, I like this character. Again, I still see and understand the arguments and complaints about how this is a change for the character of MJ. But I liked Michelle. I liked her dynamic with the group. It was weird and it was funny because she was a bit of an outsider, but she had this sort of natural charisma, and nobody like treated her like she was weird. She just seemed to voluntarily be like, I'm just gonna be, you guys go over there, have fun, I'll just be over here. But she didn't seem angsty, and she didn't, you know, I liked her whole dynamic, and I came to like her quite a bit well ahead of that reveal. So because the movie took the time to put this character in and put in effort to give us reasons to potentially like her, which in my case it worked for me, then by the end, when she says, my friends call me MJ, I go, oh, okay, and I'm able to roll with it, because rather than going, here's MJ, and forcing the comparison throughout the movie, instead it goes, hey, you know that character you already liked? Yeah, I know that character. Well, that's MJ. Huh. All right. And that was basically where I landed. When it was said at first, I was like, huh? But then almost immediately I went, okay. Yeah, no, okay, I'm good. And I think that method of delivery makes it palatable for people who might have otherwise rejected it. And again, there are some people who are going to reject this change no matter what for a number of reasons. And I'm not, you know, there's always going to be that when you do a significant change to a character. But there is always going to be a contingent of people who will go with it if you do it correctly, and if you do it intelligently, and if you do it respectfully, which this film, I feel, absolutely does. And that is why I feel that the MJ reveal in Spider-Man Homecoming is brilliantly handled. From the point at which we meet this character, to how she is seen across the film, to when the reveal happens. If this decision was made, and the decision was made to change the character, this way of giving that to the audience, I think, is a genius way to do it. It was guerrilla tactics. It was, let's make them love her first, and then let them know who she is and that she's going to be important later. They put characterization up front instead of just slapping the name and hoping that the automatic recognition of the name would make us go, oh, we now care about this character, because it would have backfired, and it didn't, because they put thought into it, they were respectful about it, and it was just smartly handled. That's my thoughts, and why I think the MJ reveal is genius. What are your thoughts on all this? Please don't bring up the race thing. I didn't even talk about it, okay? Can we leave that one out? But whatever your other thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Twitter at Council of Geeks. Give a listen to the Council of Geeks podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher. I'm also one half of the Punch Like a Girl podcast, also available on iTunes and Stitcher. And until next time, this council is adjourned.